Ogilvy, Canada, called Hunter Somerville, who was working in improv in Toronto and got a part-time job in advertising, and was given the job of advertising Shreddies. Now, this is the most perfect case of creating intangible, added value without changing the product in the slightest. Shreddies is a strange, square, whole-grain cereal, only available in New Zealand, Canada, and Britain. It's Kraft's peculiar way of rewarding loyalty to the crown. In working out how you could relaunch Shreddies, he came up with this.
Shreddies is supposed to be square.
Have any of these diamond shapes gone out?
New Diamond Shreddies cereal. Contain 100% whole grain wheat in a delicious diamond shape.
Now, I'm not sure this is the most perfect example of intangible value creation. All it requires is photons, neurons, and a great idea to create this thing. And I have to say, it's a work of genius, but naturally, you can't do this kind of thing without a little bit of market research.
So Shreddies is actually introducing a new product, which is something very exciting for them. So they're introducing new Diamond Shreddies. Isn't it interesting? So I just want you to look at that little box there. So I just want to get your first impressions when you see that, and you see the Diamond Shreddy box there.
Are they square?
I'm a little bit confused.
They look like squares.
It's all in the appearance, but it's kind of like thinking about a 6 or a 9, like a 6. Flip it over, it looks like a 9, but a 6 is very different from a 9. And M and a W, exactly.
Actually, when you don't see it, like when I sat there, I think you just look like you're turning around and but when you see it like that, it's more interesting looking.
Just try both of them. Take a square one there first.
First one.
The first one.
Now, naturally, actually, debate raged. There were conservative elements in Canada, unsurprisingly, who actually resented this intrusion. So eventually the manufacturers actually arrived at a compromise, which was the combo pack. Now, if you think it's funny, bear in mind there's an organization called the American Institute of Wine Economics, which actually does extensive research into perception of things and discovers that except for among perhaps 5 or 10% of the most knowledgeable people, there is no correlation between quality and enjoyment in wine, except when you tell the people how expensive it is, in which case they tend to enjoy the more expensive stuff more. So drink your wine blind in future. But this is both hysterically funny, but I think an important philosophical point, which is going forward, we need more of this kind of value. We need actually spend more time appreciating what already exists and less time agonizing over what else we can do. 2 quotations to more or less end with. One of them is poetry is when you make new things familiar and familiar things new, which isn't a bad definition of what our job is. To help people appreciate what is unfamiliar, but also to gain a greater appreciation and place a far higher value on those things which are already existing. There's some evidence, by the way, that things like social networking help do that, because they help people share news. They give badge value to everyday little trivial activities, so they actually reduce the need for actually expending great money on display and increase the kind of third-party enjoyment you can get from the smallest, simplest things in life, which is attractive. The second one is the second G.K. Chesterton quote of the session, which is, "We're perishing for want of wonder, not for want of wonders," which I think for anybody involved in technology is perfectly true. And a final thing, when you place a value on things like health, love, sex, and other things, and learn to place a material value on what you've previously discounted for being merely untangible, a thing not seen, you realize you're much, much wealthier than you ever imagined. So thank you very much indeed.